Welcome back, my lovelies. Today, we are going to do something so fun, one of my favorite topics of all time, interior design. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at the 4 amazing styles that are going to be hot for 2024. Follow me. And since so many of you ask, I will link every piece that I'm wearing today in the description section. I am wearing pants by Massimo Dutti. These are actual leather, not vegan leather. The blazer that I'm wearing is Nili Lotan. My shoes are vintage Chanel, and my tank top is from Zara. Make sure you stay to the very end because my absolute favorite chef's kiss style that I can't live without, which you will see, trust me, is going to be featured at the end of this episode. We're going to start with something that I absolutely love, organic modernism. This is something that is just timeless in my opinion. It's been trending now for a little bit, but I just love it. So let's get into it. What organic modernism means essentially is bringing in things of different shapes in a way that they dance together and really create a symphony. I don't know how else to describe it. You've got beautiful, interesting pieces of furniture, none of which are ubiquitous. They're all unique and they're gorgeous and they just tell a story and they all could live by themselves, meaning each and every piece is beautiful onto itself. Look at this living room with this beautiful chaise longue. You've got this gorgeous wood coffee table that is very organic, hence the name. You've got a pair of chairs that are this really beautiful, aesthetically pleasing fur-like chairs that have this, gorgeous fabric on them. Again, it is a reference to the outdoors. It's a reference to, perhaps, the animal kingdom because that's the kind of fur that is on them. And again, it's about having these very clean, subtle colors. The next example is really gorgeous because of the fact that, again, you are bringing in organic and outdoor elements inside the home. Just think of it as an indoor-outdoor experience, but also really pushing the envelope. The stoned wall that is featured in this kitchen is actually what you would see typically on the facade of a home, but now you're seeing it inside. So you are really pushing the envelope and you are really creating a space that is really meant to be outside, but looks gorgeous inside. So it wouldn't be unusual to see some flagstone. It wouldn't be unusual to see, boulder or rocks of some sort. This was actually very in the 70s. You guys remember those crazy fireplaces with the stone surrounds? Well, it's an interpretation of that. It is the sort of new modern version of that, and it just looks great, especially coupled with natural wood tones. Here's a moment that is close to my heart. It makes my heart skip a few beats considering I have a heart murmur. This is actually true. Look at this adorable stool, sheet type stool with the cute legs. You've got this great paneling. You've got this sort of rough asymmetrical table, or shall I say a more rustic table that is in the corner of this room, and paneling with a little touch of mid-century modern, and this is just the perfect corner. Again, look at this room, Venetian plaster. You've got the earthy elements, you've got ball feet that are made of wood, you've got these asymmetrical shapes, and then you've got a pop of mid-century sort of chandelier that's falling here. This is exactly what we mean by organic modernism. The next design style is called postmodern. This is very much on trend right now. I can't say that it is my style because of the fact that it has too many colors, but I appreciate it. I can have a very distinct style and also appreciate other designs and other aesthetics. And so in this case, postmodernism to me has some really great elements. And one of the elements that it has that I appreciate is the fact that you've got these really great pieces from whether it's, for example, this roly-poly chair. This is a mid-century piece. Again, it's grounded in some really interesting, good designs that are mid-century, but with a lot of color. The mirror in this room with a scalloped edge in blue, the roly-poly chair, which is adorable and always a piece that can look good in any design. In fact, you can stick that in an empty room and it'll look great. And the pop of color and the art tell you a lot about what this design's about. Again, another example is you can have, interestingly enough, you can also have a touch of warmth in your wood paneling, and of course you can have a lot of color. This is what postmodern design is. It is essentially a little bit past the mid-century modern era, which is why it has a lot of these mid-century pieces. But then it has, again, this, very interesting rug that has myriad of colors. The walls have a lot of art that are popping. So if you have a penchant for color in your furniture, this is something that's definitely going to speak to you. Again, there's another example with the pink roly-poly chair, a lot of color in the rug, a very well-known mid-century light that's above the dining room, and some very interesting iconic pieces. The trick to postmodern design is to try and create a focal point in a room that is going to tell the entire story. And in this case, the focal point is the orange, beautiful light that of course is picked up again with the orange table and the orange sofa, but then there's pops of blue and pink. And it's very hard to do this, by the way, and get away with it. You have to have a very good eye, and you have to be able to balance these colors, because as much as it looks like they just threw in a bunch of colors, it's not like that. These are colors that sometimes contradict each other. They are made to look very bold, but then work together in unison. So you really have to know how to design and how to style perfectly. By the way, if you guys need consultation of any kind, you can reach me by Zoom. We can have a one-on-one conversation. I have them with you guys weekly. I get to meet so many of you, and I really look forward to them. So make sure and click the Zoom link in my bio, and we could have a 20-minute conversation or longer. The third is new colonialism. We did an in-depth video about this. If you're interested in learning more, make sure and click on this exact video that we popped up, I believe, a couple weeks ago. But today we're going to touch upon this because it's going to be prevalent in the next 10 or so years. It is very well known throughout the industry that this is going to be the next big thing. In fact, I had a conversation with the editor-in-chief, as I mentioned before, and lots of other interior designers. So we're all on board with the fact that this is going to be a trend, whether we like it or not. I can't say whether I love it or dislike it. I like it because I'm going to make it my own, which means that I'm going to have the paneling I love, I'm going to have the beautiful pieces that I love, and I'm embracing this because of the fact that it really is a very simple, in a way, simple and classic architecture. I love classic architecture. I believe in not doing things that are very trendy. So for me, this is a win. As an example, we're going to look at this living room. This is a living room that you've seen before. Again, classic in its core. The paneling will continue for the next decade or so, which I'm very excited about. The more paneling, the better, in my opinion, because it reminds me of Paris. And all roads always lead back to Paris for me, which God knows if I could live there tomorrow, I would. So look at the paneling, look at the furniture, look at the placement. It's very classic. It's not out there. I like a little bit more jazz, but I do like the fact that it's clean and very welcoming. Again, you're going to notice from these photos that even the pool remains modern, which is why it's called the modern colonialism, but then you're going to have the ubiquitous columns that were seen in the new colonial days back east that are going to be incorporated in these homes. And so it's a reference to a time period long gone, but with modern touches. This is the entrance of Gwyneth Paltrow's home. So the interior of the house, to me, has a touch of this new colonialism, which is coming. This was designed by Bridget Romanek, a very, very kind and wonderful interior designer whom I know personally and have had the pleasure of reading her book. This has multiple elements. It has organic modernism. It also has the new colonialism. It is the sense of classic architecture mixed with some very earthy vibes and modern necessities, such as the steel doors that are here. Those are now being installed in many, many homes, yet it crosses into several of the design concepts that we looked at today. And the very last one, if you guessed it, you guessed right, Art Deco. Why? Because it references France. I love Art Deco, Art Décoratif. The 20s are really by far some of the most interesting interiors that I have ever seen. And I've rarely seen anybody be able to duplicate it again in the modern sense. So when I do find one that I like, it's very rare, and I tend to love it very much because I like things that I haven't seen over and over and over again. And Art Deco has that sense of being very original, but again, rooted in history. And nobody does modern Art Deco, Art Décoratif better than Jean-Louis Degnaud, the very, very famous French architect whom I adore and worship and hope to one day meet. I haven't met him, but if I find him somewhere, I might be stalking him. He really has a penchant for more of a maximalist look. I'm more of a minimalist, but nobody does it better than Jean-Louis. Look at the floors, or is it a rug, in this particular living room. It has all the elements of a formal room with the chaise longue, which has its very exaggerated shape, with the chaise longue with an exaggerated back and a very round front. This is what Art Deco is about. It's got a lot of edges that are square, but it also ties it in with very pronounced round edges and oval edges with a mix of color. You have grays, you've got blacks, you've got blues, and it's done in a way that is very appealing to the eye. Jean-Louis Degnaud's work is very visually stimulating, and it is very photo worthy. It's like a moment in time, and it looks good from every angle. The multiple colors on the interior doors, a lot of texture in terms of the rug and the fabrics, and the shape of the sofas that are more of an oval back. This really is the period of Art Deco, and it is back. It is back with some kind of neutrality, meaning the colors are going to be neutral. To summarize, Art Deco is about combining different patterns, and to do it in a way that's almost maximalist and a little bit like Gaudi. So what you want to do is you want to have shapes that are unusual, and you want to have patterns that are unusual. Sometimes it's a harlequin pattern against a pattern that is more circular and rounded, and the colors are just very interesting and they are combined together. It's not about a room that blends in beautifully, but it's about a room that has different pops and different elements. And again, this is very difficult to do, very, very difficult to do. So if you guys love Art Deco, I wish you a lot of luck in sourcing some of these pieces, but it is absolutely stunning. I want to know which design taste is yours, or which one you would love. If you had an unlimited budget, let's play this game. And you could design a house from soup to nuts, and you had to pick one of these, what would it be? You had to. It was like mandated. Gun to your head. Let me know. Thank you again for joining me on this episode of The Red Elevator. I am so thankful to have you guys in my life. I read every one of your comments, and I appreciate every single one of you. Stay safe, be good, and we'll see you again next week on this channel.